Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz, you guys. I have a very fun guest here today, Chris Abazis.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Stupid last name.
It's not a stupid. We were just talking about this, guys, before the podcast. It's not a stupid last name. It's just hard to pronounce.
It's okay.
Anyway, you guys, Chris is a very full of energy, fun personality. And so I'm very excited to have you on today. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Chris he does a bunch of different things. Trying to explain what you do is hard. You have business experience. You're in the wedding industry as well. Sure. I'm going to let you dive in.
Okay. Yeah. So the short answer is I do everything that has to do with talking, right? So it's an interesting being here, being interviewed because I'm always the interviewer. So it's like, we've spoken before. We did a live stream, which is much different than this, right? It's like, hey, 1, 2, 3, go. You're live. Let's talk. It's a lot of fun. But when I was 18 years old, I got into, I had every job in the restaurant industry. I got recruited by a DJ. I was bartending. I was dancing behind the bar, and the DJ said, a guy named Kevin McClafferty from Absolute Entertainment said, why don't you come work with us? You make a lot more money. And I said, I bartend. I make some decent dough. Then one day I did work with them, and I made a lot of money.
You made more dough.
Exactly. Well, it's not more right away, but I really loved it. I'm like, really? I'm going to get paid this to do this? And I learned to DJ. Then I became an MC. And I started with Sweet 16s and bar and bat mitzvahs, migrated to weddings as I got older, and they didn't want the old guy at their party anymore. And I started my own company at 21 called Step Lively Productions. And I had that company all the way through till about 2010. I was also doing real estate sales. Did probably over 1,000 weddings by then. I sold my company in 2010 to one of the guys that I worked with. And that's it. Then that was pretty much, I was running companies, real estate companies at the time. And then I became a speaker, coach, and I got out of office leadership. And I partnered with a buddy of mine, John. So back when I used to work in the DJ industry, he worked in the photography industry. And one time, not too long ago, I was preparing a class to teach people how to use video, do things like this for their business. Mm-hmm. And while I was doing that, John called me and said, hey, Chris, I noticed that most business owners have really shitty videos. Let's start a company and do high-level stuff. And I said, man, I got goosebumps. I'm writing a course on this right now. And we started Sky Limitless Media. So right now I'm a partner in Sky Limitless Media, where we do weddings, amongst other things, and we do them very special. And I'm an officiant. I officiate weddings. So that has to do with talking. On the wedding end, I host stuff. I host events. And now I hooked back up with Absolute Entertainment. It's moving down here, and I'm going to be emceeing weddings again. My first wedding down here, I'll be emceeing at the Crane Club next Sunday. So
that's so exciting. I didn't know that.
This is newly developed, so here I am. Mm-hmm.
Because you sold your business back in the day for a reason. Did you want to get out of it? Are you excited to get back into it?
Well, I got into real estate sales when I was about 21, and I said, I figure I'll sell real estate till I learn what I want to be when I grow up. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I said, instead of me working for another company and getting paid and having to do 3 parties, I'll start my own and do 1 party and make the same amount of money. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting both of these things to be successful. Fast forward to 2010, I had a successful real estate sales business. I had a DJ company that was doing 300 parties a year. And I said I had to choose because I had the opportunity to launch and run an office as a CEO. So I said, I got to get out of this. And I kind of handed it over to a buddy that I worked with, and I sold the equipment. He kind of took over the business and ran with it and changed some things around, and that was it. And so I just wanted to focus on one thing. But now it's after leaving office leadership, I have the time. So it's like people say, hey, can you do this? Yeah, sure, I can do it. Sounds good.
So it's not like you left because you absolutely hated it or anything. It's just like you had different opportunities, made sense for you to focus on one thing. But it's kind of cool how things come back in like full circle. Now you get to do it again. And
yeah, I'm a little older now, so it's like when you don't have to do something, and you don't have, because I was in owning businesses, right? And that's I'm a business coach, so it's like, what do you love doing in your business? And then any business owner knows that there's going to be things that they don't enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. So by working with another company, it's kind of like, hey, show up at this wedding, grab this microphone, MC this party, give these people the time of their life. and then goodbye. You don't have to deal with anybody beforehand, afterwards, and all the kind of politics of running a staff and all that stuff. So it is more fun in that sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so you mentioned your partner, John. I know he does more of the video side. Do you do any of that with him?
Sure. So John he shoots and edits. He's incredible at both. And I'm more on the creative end. So I'll put together the storyboarding, the concepts, the ideas. I produce and mix the music. So all of our original music, I do it. Cool. And I do shoot sometimes when we need, so if we're capturing B-roll, grab a camera, shoot some B-roll. And, but other than that, I'm the front of the camera.
You're more the front
guy.
end and
exactly.
he's more the back end. Makes sense. So speaking of him, I know that something really fun that you guys do is this red carpet experience. I've watched your videos. They're fantastic. Tell us about that.
So the red carpet ambush initially was, we did it. We did it at a charity event, and we thought it'd be a fun thing to do at a charity event for business professionals. We said we'll show up and pretend we weren't invited, and we'll just ask people silly questions, and everybody loved it. And we created a product out of it, and then more and more businesses were hiring us to do it. And then we said, let's bring this to the wedding world. Let's bring it to, and then so many people were interested. I don't want a boring video. So it's a way to include all the guests. So what happens is, as people are arriving, we ask them silly questions about the bride and groom, about weddings in general. And then again, later on in the night, we get some B-roll of the event. And then later on in the night, after people are a little bit lubricated, a little bit, more interesting.
Liquid courage.
We'll go up and ask them questions again. And you end up with a nice, 8-minute to 10-minute video that includes all the guests. It's funny, it's silly, it's kind of spontaneous. Nobody's expecting it. And John's a wizard with this. It's all in the editing and the way that it comes out. Sometimes, and every single time we shoot one, John's like, I don't know if this is going to be good. Typical video production people, right? Like, I don't know if this is going to be good. Then by the time he's done, he's like, I'm a god. Yeah. This is, we nailed it. So it always ends up pretty fun.
I mean, I'm
really
sure that John is incredible as well, but you're hilarious in these videos as well. When you say like you ask people random questions, and guys, I've seen videos, you jump out of bushes and stuff. Yeah. Like, it's hilarious. You shock people. My Sweet 16, I think I told you this once. My Sweet 16. Are you getting a call?
Hey.
Oh, it's John?
John, we're on a podcast talking about you. Say hello to.
Hi, John.
You want to say something into the microphone?
No.
That's John. All right. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah, so you're saying you're Sweet 16, and that's how I started, man. I wish we did this Sweet 16.
Well,
how was it?
My Sweet 16, so back in the day, I thought I was going to be Taylor Swift when I grew up. And so my Sweet 16 was like the red carpet, like almost like the music awards, like the CMT awards. Yeah. And so I had a big red carpet and it was all music themed. And my mom threw me like this big Sweet 16 party. So it would have, like, we had the red carpet. It would have been so cool to have this.
That happens often, So we did we did a bar mitzvah where they had like a red carpet and a step and repeat in the background and stuff with the logo, because bar mitzvahs are very themed. And, yeah, we did one that was a 21st birthday college graduation hybrid.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I saw that.
Yeah, and it was, this is going to be, we can get a little bit out of control. The thing is with these questions, this product is not for everybody, right? Because sometimes we borderline offend people. We push the envelope a little bit, and we're not always so well received. And it's funny because if you saw the sometimes, one of the ones, a guy was like, excuse me, we're talking here. And the guy he was talking to was like, no, this is what they do. And he's like, you're interrupting, how rude. And the guy was like, don't worry, he's an attorney. And I'm like, oh, so everybody hates you. It was just, but that's not common, but it does happen sometimes.
Maybe it's like the time and place and your certain audience. I think from a wedding perspective, I personally would want like the traditional beautiful, romantic, like wedding video. But then this could be like a fun twist of maybe, as people are leaving cocktail hour and going into the reception, like turning the night from this like romantic vibe to the party. Like it's a good thing. And I literally was cleaning my house yesterday or the day before, and I was like going through stuff and I was like, what is this book? And then when I like really looked at it and opened it, I was like, oh, this is my guest book for my wedding. Like the book that people signed.
Did you ever read all that stuff in it?
I think once. I think like the week after my wedding, I was like, oh, what did people say? And it's like they wrote their name.
It's like your photo album or your wedding video a lot of times.
Yeah. And so I just like that you guys capture people's, get people on video, get them talking, have them say things. Those are like memories that everyone can look back on.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, our planning process around that is, because it's not 100% spontaneous, right? So and typically people that do contract us for that, they contract us, we'll do a traditional video, have a red carpet ambush, and then they'll also get a trailer or like a commercial, like a highlight reel or something. Typically we're doing 3 products. Sometimes we'll get hired just to do like a red carpet ambush, and then there's another video company there or a photo that's, shooting the boring stuff, and that's fine too. But typically, and then our planning process is we send them a form to fill out. It's kind of like, do you have any special guests? How do you know them? And any special stories that we should know about? Any inside jokes? And then we know that stuff ahead of time. And then we'll talk to them and we'll come up with kind of questions together. And the thing is that makes it funny, and John's the genius with this, it's the repetition in the question. So in asking people, it's like, what's your favorite story about the bride and groom? And then, whatever they say, we'll keep saying the same thing, or like, how do you feel about weddings? Or just, what's your advice for the bride and groom? And then we'll just keep saying something silly back to them. And it's the repetition that in the editing, that's what kind of makes it funny. Or even when you ask somebody something and they don't say anything, and then John, puts up the crickets, and we're just like, okay. It's like, but that's really where the magic happens,
Yeah, it's so funny. I love that you do that. And I really think the things that people remember from weddings and event is how they felt. And it's not necessarily all the flowers and the decor. I'm sure they think it's beautiful and it adds to it, but it's really how they felt and those memories and how much fun they had. I think the DJ, the MC, some of the entertainment factor, like really lasts in their memory because it makes it fun. It should be. I mean, I really love serious ceremonies, and then a really fun party is my kind of thing.
That's perfect. I officiate weddings too. And, I officiate weddings like an MC. So it's like, I make people clap and, a round of applause and groom side, bride side, but they're still serious, but casual and good. But that's definitely a different tone than the party. And then people start drinking and eating and all that stuff. But you're absolutely right. People remember the experience. And the unique thing that we found about this red carpet ambush is that we get everybody we talk to makes it to the video. So unless someone says, don't talk to me, they're going to be in it. And then now with social media, the way it is, you post that thing, you tag all your friends, that thing gets shared, and we get feedback. We get feedback months later about people that had just, oh my God, I just saw this. So it gets shared and watched over and over again because people think about it. If you got 100 guests on it, they all want to share it with their friends. Hey, look at this is silly. It's in my thing. So it's there's that shareability factor too, which is also one of the reasons why people like it. It's real easy to get out there and kind of because nobody wants to watch anybody's wedding video a lot of the time.
I mean, if you're very close to the person, like I was excited to watch my best friend's wedding video and my sister's, but other than that, like not a ton of people are wanting to watch other people's wedding videos. But today, TikTok is so popular. It's that fast, funny, entertain me right now for a few seconds, and then you keep scrolling. And so the clips of these funny things is really like, that's what people are going to eat up after the wedding. They're going to think it's hilarious and keep watching it. So obviously you have a lot of experience in the wedding world over the years. What is some advice that you have for couples that are planning weddings?
Well, so I always say if you make it through the planning process, the marriage will be a little bit easier. I would tell just kind of divide and conquer. If something's not important to you, because you have 2 people involved, certain things are going to be important to one person that might not be important to the other. So if the color of the napkins are important to you, take care of that. Don't bother the other person about it. And if you don't care about the music, just let the other person handle that. Don't create friction and arguments during your planning process. It should be fun. It rarely is fun. I think for people, there's a lot of stress and in sitting in front of so many brides and grooms arguing over music and stuff like that and with their arms folded, it breaks my heart because this is something that should be fun. And also, don't be afraid to go outside the box. If you have an idea, and some of the most magical things I've seen are things that people came up with on their own that were different that nobody else did. Just don't let people shit all over you. You know, you get moms and dads and family. You should do this. You should do that. You have to wear a white dress. What? I want to wear a red dress. Who cares? Yeah. I'm the groom and I want to wear a red dress. Leave me alone. So don't let other people shit on you. So just really make it special. Make it your own. Don't feel like you have to be this cookie cutter wedding. And once you're really super clear on your vision for that, you're going to align with vendors. If you want a cookie cutter wedding, there's plenty of vendors out there. If you don't want a cookie cutter wedding and you're clear about your vision, you'll come up with great questions to ask your vendors and to be able to really customize and fine tune what you're looking for. Because I think there's too often people are kind of buying out of the box. It's like, you know, you go to McDonald's, everyone's ordering by number. And particularly in New York, man, New York was really saturated with that. I think people are doing a little bit more. It's a little different down here. Yeah. But that would be my main advice for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. The title of my book is called Your Day, Your Way. So I definitely agree.
That's Absolute Entertainment's slogan.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Your day, well, it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore. That's going back 20 years. I got to see if it is now. But that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that you put that book out. I sent it over to them. It was hysterical. I was like, man, your day, your way. And I love what you're doing because you're saying people don't, like you're saying, hey, let me give you the tools to discover how to make your day uniquely yours without kind of having to handle. Because a lot of times I think people do hit the easy button and hire a party planner. And that could be great. It's a lot of leverage, but then sometimes you end up with their party. Because my girlfriend went to hire, her friend was doing it for the bar mitzvah, her son's bar mitzvah, and she just kept forcing stuff on her. And she was like, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. She ended up doing it herself. And then that day, her friend, the party planner, was like, this is exactly what you wanted. She's like, yeah, it's what I wanted. You know?
Yeah. So
you get that.
I actually haven't announced this yet, but I think I might be offering in-person planning.
You should.
TBD.
Don't let me shit on you, but you should.
For those who do want it. And then I do have my program for those who don't want it or are more DIY brides or lower budget brides. But I've heard so many horror stories of like planners not cooperating with couples, and I don't quite get it. I had a friend who was like, I really want purple bridesmaids dresses. I've always wanted that. Purple. She's a purple girl. I feel like, I don't know, purple girls are purple girls. And so she was like, I really want purple, but her wedding was like in the fall. And her planner was like, here's some ideas for the bridesmaids dresses, and like would send her like orange dresses. And she was like, I really wanted this color. And she was like, well, I don't know if it fits with the palette. And it was like, okay, no, like from a aesthetic perspective, maybe the like tea colored would have matched this like fall decor and blah, blah, blah. But like the bride wanted purple. Like let the girl have purple.
Exactly.
Like just stop. Like, because the bride like called me and was like, I don't know, like then second guessing herself. And I'm like, no, this is what you wanted. Like it doesn't have to be what she thinks matches. It's what you want.
Exactly. And so your whole book is a book of advice. It's the same thing that I would tell people. And you got that family, and down here, everybody's using planners. It seems like it's so common. We just did an event. Lessings Caterers is down here. They're buying up all these places, building these catering halls. They're from New York. The event was all party planners because everyone goes through planners, and I was sitting, there was party planners looking at things, arguing about them. So everyone, it's all just opinions, and you want someone that's going to lend their expertise in any vendor. You want someone that's going to lend their expertise. I mean, because I know as a DJ, when if a bride and groom gives you, hey, I want all these songs played, 200 songs, be like, well, so if your party is not responding to this, you want to take away all the creative freedom from the DJ to just because you want your music played. And then you're going to say, hey, nobody's dancing. Yeah, you picked shitty music and you insisted that we play it. Give us your top 10 favorite songs. We'll definitely play those, and whatever your crowd responds to, maybe not everybody wants to dance at corn at your wedding. This happens, right? So,
I know it happens because it was my wedding. Yeah. It was, well, I didn't put corn on the list. My husband was going up to the DJ and asking for, oh my God, I don't remember what the band was called. Something in the same category as corn. And he was like, why isn't the DJ playing my music? And I'm like, Because you have interesting taste.
Well, see, and I always say, and it's in the planning process. Again, it's like when you sit down with people and say, "Look, I'm a guitar player. I played hardcore music my whole life. I love it." But the thing is, let's not play it the whole time. Like, we'll get your songs in there. Here's the appropriate times to get that stuff in there, and maybe everybody does go crazy. Like out in New York, you get these brides. Oh, our whole crowd wants EDM. They're gonna go nuts the whole time. We're from the tunnel. People are going to respond different at your wedding. So do you want us to keep playing this if, people are not moving and things like that? But, it's to work with vendors that are going to lend expertise and professionalism, but that are really going to understand what you're looking for. And then that's where you get something unique that's really magical. Rather, you don't want either way. You don't want a vendor forcing things down your throat. You don't want to be forcing them to do it.
I do think it's just a balance. Because I will say at our wedding, I gave the DJ a list of I don't know, maybe 20 songs but I said, I was like, I trust you. Here's kind of what I like, what I think will be good, but I trust you. And then he played, but he played nothing that I wanted.
That's not good.
And so I was like, okay, maybe I should have been a little bit more stern with it. Not because I didn't want to give him a list. It's a balance.
Well, we call it a must play list, right? So then we'll say, hey, we'll 100% we'll play these, but in our final planning process. So our process with in DJing is you book us, right? We sell you the party, we show you the stuff. Then the planning process, you fill out all these forms and what music do you want for this part, your top 10 must plays. And then we'll meet again and we'll say, okay, I see you've got this on your list, and this would be best played during a downtime, like when people are eating dinner or having cake and coffee, and this would be best played here. Now, if people really, if we play this Tupac song and people go nuts, we'll assume that your crowd, we played your favorite Tupac song, and your crowd went nuts, so now we're going to play more of that kind of music based on, and that's where they're reading the crowd. But now, if you list 5 Tupac songs on your top 10 must-play list, we'll play all of them, but if nobody cares about the first one, are we committed to playing the other 4? And you only have limited time at a wedding. Yeah. So, and that's from the music, that's from the standpoint of the music. And it's just, like you said, entertainment and experience is so important. It's, I think it's, if you have a great party, people will forget that the food sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were saying that earlier. I think the entertainment, the experience, how much fun people had, that's what they'll remember. Earlier, you touched on something of if your partner, I want to circle back. If your partner isn't interested in something, don't force them to plan it. Because we were talking about partners end up fighting while planning the wedding. And I 100% agree. That was something, I experienced when I was first starting to plan our wedding is I wanted my husband to be on the same level. And I quickly realized, I was like, this isn't his thing. And me forcing him to try to do it, it's just not going to be fun. And so then I ended up doing most of it on my own, tied him in, but it just worked better for us. Yeah. I think a lot of couples want it to be, a lot of brides want their groom to be blunt. A lot of the brides want the groom to be as excited for all of the little details as they are. And it's just not going to happen. Yeah. And by forcing them to do it, it's going to cause fights. And there's really no point.
Yeah, it's. I mean, people say happy wife, happy life, and it's. But then it's just the groom might care about. Hey, I want to make sure that we have steak available on the menu or something like that. But I mean, it's babe, what do you think? The napkins? Do you want the white napkins, the blue napkins? Be like, I don't care. Well, I wish you would help me with something. Can't you make a decision? Do I have to do everything? Okay, I like the blue ones. Really? I was really thinking the white napkins. So pick the white napkins. That's and that carries through into your marriage where you have the wife that's like, can we go get dinner? Yeah, babe, what do you want? You pick it. Whatever. I don't care what we eat. All right, you want to get Mexican? I'm not really in the mood for Mexican. Okay, well, how about you want to go get some seafood? Well, we had seafood the other day. You want to get, no. What do you want? Well, you pick it. No. When I say I don't care, I really don't care. So lean into the stuff that matters to you. And if something matters to the other person, let them, and just kind of, that's the executive branch. Pass or veto. That's all you got to care. Yes or no. What do you think? Oh, whatever you want. Cool. I'm going with it, right?
I had a pastor on last week, and in that episode, he was talking about when he is coaching couples prior to the wedding, how he challenges them with a weekly date night, and they have to alternate who asks who. And it's when it's your turn to plan the date, you can't just be like, what do you want to do? Because that doesn't count as planning a date for your spouse. But on the flip side, when your spouse plans that date, you can't say, I don't want to do that. Like if they planned it, as long as it's nothing like crazy, go with it. Do what they planned. If they picked a Mexican, you're going to do Mexican that night. Like let them. So I kind of liked that because I think, you know, some guy, I'm being stereotypical now, but like some guys will say like, I don't know, babe, whatever you want to do. And that's like the easy button. And girls want to be wooed.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just such a balance. It's such a balance, and communication is, I think, what it all comes down to.
You're absolutely right. It's in learning and knowing about the other person too. So girls want to be wooed, and if you know enough about them, I love it in relationships to be able to surprise somebody with something that they would not have thought of or done for themselves, and then where it's amazing for them. You know, like my girlfriend, I brought her skydiving. She thought she was going to. It was a Mother's Day gift. She thought she was going to land on that ground, kiss the floor, and never want to do it again. But she fell in love with skydiving, and it was something that she would have never done. You know, and then my ex-wife, she wasn't very experienced with different kinds of foods, and man, I love food. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to eat. So I just had so much fun, you know, showing her different restaurants. Even when I was just up in New York with my girlfriend, she's like, I'm like, let me get you a real bagel, you know, like a good slice of pizza. Oh, you never had halal food? You never ate Ethiopian? Let's go and let's do that stuff. And I love that kind of stuff. But if sometimes people are really particular, and if you're particular, you need to voice that. Yeah. If you have an opinion on something, don't make me pick something and then we go out to a restaurant and be like, I'm not going to eat anything, but this is what you wanted to eat. You said you didn't care and you forced me to pick it because I really don't care. I would have been, I don't care. But so now you're not going to eat because you thought that this is what I wanted to do. That's not cool. And that's grounds for disaster. Yeah,
I agree. Was this recent, the skydiving thing?
This was our first year dating, probably 2 years ago. We've gone since then. We went that time. We've gone since. She's gone 3-4 times since then.
Because you must have known that she would do it.
Well,
because I can tell you that if I would do it, I'm crazy. My husband would if I planned that for him, he would. There's no way. But I know that going into it. So did you know?
She was apprehensive.
Was she?
Well, we had spoken about it, and you know, she wasn't against it. She said she wouldn't do it, and then I got it as a Mother's Day gift, and from her kids. So you can't say no to the kids. And she was apprehensive about it, but she said, "Why not?" And that's just, you know, that's what it is. And I think even skydiving or eating something that you don't think you normally would have eaten, or you know, going a place you wouldn't normally go. That's the exciting part of life.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of challenging yourself to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And that's, I think, good relationships are a balance of challenging you to get out of your comfort zone, all at the same time making you feel okay in your own skin. And it's that if you can achieve that dichotomy, you're really in a good place, because I think relationships are really about how you feel about yourself with this person. Mm-hmm. It's almost like this person, I feel really good about myself. I like the version of myself I am when I'm with this person. And it's, how do you achieve that? And it's, people always used to ask me, oh, what's the secret of a successful relationship? You know, back before I was divorced, everyone said, oh, you got this great marriage. And we got married young and everything, and she's a wonderful person. But it was always like, I used to say, find someone that you like them just the way they are. Mm-hmm. Don't say, oh, they're going to change once we get married. They're going to change once we have kids. No. You be okay with the worst things about them. Not that you don't ignore those things because you love these things. Be okay with the worst things about them. Yeah. If they snore and you don't like snoring, it's not going to get better.
It's not.
You're going to like it less and less. I hear so many times, oh, he snores so much more than when we first met. No, he doesn't. It just bothers you more now. He snored this. I know this man, and he snored the same when we were in college that he does today at 40. It just bothers you more.
Yeah, that is good advice of make sure that you like them now, not what you think they're going to be.
Do you like the bad? How are you okay with the bad things?
There's a song. What's her name? Danielle Bradbury. I think I probably butchered her name, but she has a song, something along the lines of like, I was in love with your potential. And it was like, not with who you are, but I was in love with who I thought you could become. Yeah. But like, you aren't who I want you to be. Like, you're this other guy.
We force people to fit into what we want them to be. Even in the business world, when we want to hire people or we really like someone, we're blinded and we I force them. I'm overlooking these things because I really want them to be that person, and you got to be very careful not to do that.
Yeah, I can make it work. So that is so exciting that you're starting to DJ again. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
I'll be emceeing. I haven't kept up with music, so no more DJing
so
for me.
DJ,
I'm
so
a microphone guy. I'm working with a guy named John Suarez. He is a popular DJ. He does remixes. He tours around the world and stuff like that. So we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And this Sunday will be our first wedding together. These people don't know what they're in store for. So we're looking at doing more.
That's so exciting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is a fantastic job for you, for emceeing.
Anything that has to do with talking.
Look at you.
I just love the sound of this. It sounds, right? Does it sound good over there too? I like it. Ooh.
I'm sure everyone listening really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you know.
So I ask everybody that's on the podcast if they have any wedding day horror stories.
Yeah. For me, like wedding day horror stories.
Or wedding, engaged.
It's a lot of times it's in that planning process that we would sit down with people and they're arguing over music or table arrangements and things like that. And you're like, oh man, I feel bad for these people. This is not going to work out. And where they're just at each other's throats. As far as the days of the wedding, I mean, we've had a death at a wedding.
Wait, you're saying that so casually.
Yeah. Well, we had somebody that, passed out unconscious. They were taken away in an ambulance and later died.
Were they old?
They were old and they were old enough that it wasn't like, wow, they're so young, but they were young enough that they were on the dance floor.
Huh.
They weren't like sickly. I think it was a heart thing, a heart attack, that's how people kind of go out quick like that. I've had that. I mean, on the lower end of things, I've had, where the food didn't make it or spoiled, or, where, as a DJ, you go there and you say, oh, we're in a weird place. Let me ask you, how many amps are your breakers? Because we've got lighting, we've got power amps and things like that. And then they tell you, and sometimes they tell you the wrong thing, and then you pop a fuse in the middle of a grand entrance or something, and then nobody could figure it out. And so you have things like that, which we've learned now to verify new locations on our own to make sure that everything is good. I've had, where officiants didn't show up or were late, and it backed everything up. Lateness is a big deal, especially with, there are certain communities of people that don't regard time as an actual thing in life. So you just got to kind of work around that stuff. But it's most of the horror stories are kind of like small things, and if you could laugh at them, other than a death, you don't want to laugh at a death. But the party kept going, so. They didn't know they died. They just kind of,
Yeah, they thought, oh, he's not feeling well, and
I don't know.
That's sad. So the next question that I ask everybody is, what's one piece of advice? I know you've given a lot of advice, but what's your final big piece of advice?
Everything that I do, I think that you need to have fun doing it. My company's Dream Key Consulting, do shit you love, and you should love every moment of it. And whether it's your job, where I work with business people, but in this process, find the joy in everything and be present and live from now. Don't allow your shitty past to keep showing up in the future and you causing it to happen over and over again, and stop being worried and fearful about a point in time in the future. That's actually not real. It doesn't exist yet. So what's happening right now?
I need that advice.
It's being present. Well, it's easy advice to give. It's harder to take. I mean, it's several times throughout the day, you find your brain going, and we're ambitious people, and ambitious people often are constantly, what's next? So Jim Rohn says the sweet spot in life is to being both content and ambitious at the same time. Mm-hmm. People that are content are usually not too ambitious. You know those people.
Yeah.
Like, I graduated college. I got my 9 to 5. I got my health insurance. I'm going to do 40 years here, retire, and then die. Right? And then we're not like that. We're like, we're creative. We're business people. And we're super ambitious.
To be something. Like, I have to make something happen. Yeah.
And let me ask you this, Sydney. When you hit a goal, how do you feel? What do you do?
I don't give myself credit. Like, I was literally I was a guest on someone else's podcast, and she was asking me about my company and stuff. And like towards the end, I said something. I was like, oh, like I wrote a book. And she was like, you're just now saying that you wrote a book. And I was like, yeah, and it's an Amazon bestseller. And she's like, what? Like I'm like, well, yeah, like I downplay it. And yeah, I'm like, oh, well, I have to do something bigger. Like I have to go more.
Well, and that's you're living proof of what I'm talking about. Ambitious people are rarely content. Content people are rarely ambitious. Ambitious people are rarely content. But if you can be both, hey, I love what's going on right now. I'm super happy, and I'm even more excited about what's to come. Yay, without fear. That's good. I think that's, and applying that to everything in life, if you can approach your wedding planning process like that, and it sounds cheesy. You know, when I marry people, I say, listen, a wedding, a marriage, it's a journey. It's not a destination. And sometimes too often people are like, once I get to this point, once I get to that wedding day, my life will be different. Oh, when are you going to have kids? Once I have kids, once I get that job, once I retire, I'll start living. Once it's the weekend, it's like, listen, don't live life for the weekend. Don't wait till your wedding to have a journey. It's all a journey from the first point you meet someone to everything that you experience. And the wedding planning process is no different than that, to the wedding day, to the life that you're going to have together, to raising kids and everything. It's all a journey, and you just got to find the joy in and fun. I mean, I'm so passionate about fun. Everything I do, I want to have fun doing it. And it's sometimes people are like, Chris, do you ever take anything seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I'm very serious about enjoying life and having fun.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And look, I'm not for everybody.
I mean, you don't come across as like everything's a joke, but you come across as like, I'm going to enjoy myself. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm glad you get that vibe.
I do.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, this was so great. I'm so thankful that you came here today. Where can our listeners find you if they want to get in touch with you for all of the many things that you do?
Well, generally, so I got chrisabazis.com. That's kind of like my link tree, link stuff to all I do. SkyLimitlessMedia.com. You can find me. Then Sky Limitless Media on Instagram, Facebook, all the stuff. And then, on everywhere else, I'm at your favorite coach, Chris, because if you don't have a favorite coach, let it be me. So why not it be me? So you could kind of just find all the stuff that I'm doing, and I've got my hand in a lot of stuff, and, who knows what else is coming.
All right. So Chris Abazis.
Nailed it.
Chris Abazis and Sky Limitless Media, or your favorite coach, Chris.
Yep. All that stuff. Yeah, just look me up. You'll find me. There's only one me. Put me into Google. You'll find me. And you said the last name perfect. My dad would be very proud. He's from Greece. He'd be like, very Sydney. You said the name very nice.
Thank you. Yeah,
no doubt.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
this is fun. And listeners, call Chris.
That's right. Yep.